And essentially what this is this is the inspect tool, and we can essentially see what's going on and find out what the main problems are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know a little bit about this tool.
Yeah. So we'll go down. You also have, this is also the competition, auction competition. Okay. So there's really two things here. One is that you have auction overlap. And as this is going down, you're starting to see more purchases come through. Here, you can see the purchases are trending back up. See that? Your purchases are actually going up as this is going down. So now that your auction overlap is actually decreasing, you're seeing your purchases start to come back out again, which is good. But essentially what's going on is that you probably have like overlap across the board on a lot of these audiences. And are these, so these do look to be different audiences, right?
Yeah.
What I would do is I would take these, since these have worked in the past, and I would stack them all together, since they all have worked at some point, and essentially stack them all up so that way you don't have to worry about auction overlap. And that'll eliminate that issue, and you'll be able to exit learning as well, because like right now you haven't had enough purchases in the last 7 days to exit learning. So you see how like you're learning limited and you're like needing more optimizations. You need to stack these all into one ad set. You'll exit learning. You won't have to worry about auction overlap, and you'll improve your ROAS cost. So that's the first one. So that's that audience. And make sure you duplicate it and do those edits though. Don't change the same one. And then
when you suggest to like just duplicate, and after it's like after it's approved,
turn off the old one.
Yeah, the old one. Okay.
And then this ad set here.
Yeah, it's everything like started. This was very bad.
Yeah, all of these are not that good.
Yeah, it was in 15 in July, like from up to 15 July, it was better.
How many creatives per audience do you have?
We have a lot of creatives. We're trying to test a lot. So we have these creatives pretty much a lot. Usually, like we have around 6 products, and each product that we like advertise to, and each product have at least like 10 creatives, like something like that.
Got it. So we're going to go to the creative reporting tool to see what's going on with the creatives. If you can select the creative reporting tool.
Roman, can you click on the creative reporting?
Yeah, it's not clickable.
Really?
See, I was experiencing the same thing, so I wasn't sure. Okay, maybe it's just loading. It should end up being clicked on.
That's weird.
Let's see if there's another button that hovers or something.
Maybe I have something. I will try it in my end. In the meantime, let me see if it's working. Yeah. Roman, can you go inside this link?
Okay.
How is everything in Israel?
To be honest, it's okay. Like, we've been in Thailand for the past 1 year, and we back because of the corona.
Right.
But it's okay. Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah. Wow.
How it's in the US right now in Dallas, Texas?
Everything seems to be well here in the States, and then in Texas specifically with Dallas and all this. They opened everything back up to essentially just allow people to go back to, like we're one of the very few states that are just kind of like let people choose to do what they want to do. Like if they want to go to work, they can. There's no like specific hold on like locking down. There was, but we were like the first ones to open up again. So
I kind of believe in this approach.
yeah, it is. It is interesting. There is a lot of people who choose to stay home, which is not a problem at all. So people kind of, make the right decision on their own. And economy's going. People are going out, but I mean, I think people are pretty self-aware, wearing masks and stuff. So I mean, all in all, it's not too bad. It was a hot spot, but things are starting to taper off.
Yeah,
Cool.
right. Yeah.
Cool. It looks like we have access now. If we
Yeah.
want to scroll over a little bit just to see what the ROAS is on these. If the ROAS column is here by chance, I don't know if it's showing on the right hand side.
Go on
Yeah.
the columns. Yeah,
There it is. Perfect. And then just rank it by return and ad spend if we can.
Yeah, sure. You don't have the access for the mouse?
I believe I do. For some reason, every time I hover, it's not really showing it as the clickable. There we go.
Yeah.
Awesome. I can control it now. Sweet. So this one right here, I'm assuming is retargeting.
Yeah.
These are all retargeting. And then these aren't retargeting here.
No, that's not the retargeting. No.
Okay. Yeah. So I wouldn't say it's one specific creative because if you're using these different creatives in different ad sets, they're kind of all decreased, which doesn't really point to a creative issue, right? It's more of an audience issue, I would say. So based on that, I would stack those audiences where I talked about in this specific one with your best 3 creatives, how you have it. This one as well. Let's see what's going on in here. I would choose the audiences that once worked. These are lookalikes, correct?
Yeah, all of them. Like most of them. Yeah.
Okay. So in that case, I would choose which ones were working or have worked. Yeah. And stack those as well. Let's go ahead and take a look at these others too. These are all lookalikes, expanded. Are there any dynamic ads in these?
Yeah, all of them are dynamic sets.
Okay. So in that case, I try to avoid dynamic if possible, because you can't really use the inspect tool. And we don't know if it's an audience issue in that case or like an auction overlap issue or what it is. So it's best just to try to avoid the dynamic aspect and just split out the creatives by the specific engagement. You might have one audience here working, but realistically, it would be easier to tell if we had that access. So I'd avoid doing that. In UTM Snapchat, that means that anybody who visited the Snapchat, this is being targeted to them.
Yeah, everyone that was visited from Snapchat. Yeah.
Okay.
That's a new ad. It's just yesterday.
These all launched pretty recently.
Also, just a question, like we like kind of had like a feeling that we get like a pretty nice like click-through rate and the cost per click, but it's like the traffic seems just not working. So like just like traffic goes in and go out, like.
Yeah. So let's see where your drop-offs are. In this case, the best way to do that is just coming here to analytics.
Mm-hmm.
And what we can do is essentially like structure your funnel to identify like where the main drop-off points are, and then like really drill down onto what the issue is in terms of the problem and find out like what changes we need to make. You can also build audiences off of doing this. There's a lot of creative ways that we can identify like potential opportunities. And if you have good click-through rates and like people aren't converting, you don't want that to happen, because like to have a really high click-through rate on an ad is, it can be hard to get. And if you're getting it, then you definitely want to be getting the sales. Which pixel?
You can choose both of them advanced matching.
Okay. I'll just select the first one. And then we'll go to activity. We'll do the drop down. We'll select funnel. And then we'll do, well, if it's already auto, we'll see if it auto detected. It did not. So we'll do, yep. And then essentially we'll just build out your funnel.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want to select, here we go. We can just do it this way. Page view. And then this is the typical e-commerce funnel. We'll double check to make sure these are the same events that you're using, but in most cases, this is it.
Yeah, the initiate checkout might be a little bit bigger than add to cart because we use the buy now button.
Okay.
So it's skipping the add to cart.
Got it. That's fine. And then purchases. Okay. So correct me if I'm wrong, but this is like your funnel. You have the page view, somebody views the product, somebody adds it to cart, somebody initiates the checkout, then they purchase.
Yeah.
Okay. Then essentially we can see here, like from your out of 89% of the people who view it, about 8% add to cart.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. And you're saying you have a big drop off between these two? You
Yeah,
have a lot of click-throughs making it from the ads, but the moment they get, to the page, there's a big drop in terms of them adding it to cart and making the purchase.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, let's see what the landing page looks like.
So let me just send you the link. One moment. Yeah, bodyg.com.
Cool.
So you can go just to the best sellers, and that's the the ones that we usually.
Which one?
To the left one.
This one here?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is actually fine how you have this set up. Everything looks good in terms of the add to cart being pretty obvious. So one thing with the ads is that what you could do is with the creatives, you could test like the actual image of the product. Are you using videos right now?
Yeah, most of them are like right now. Most of them are videos. Yeah.
Like you could test the actual image like this,
Mm-hmm.
because when people land on the page and they see the exact same image, it's going to improve your click-through conversions from people who
I
view
see.
this to this because they know they arrived at the same place. So that'll help on that end. Like you could do the carousel format of this.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, because like you want people to know that they made it to the right spot, and that'll do it. Cool. Yeah. So I'd do that change. I'd stack the audiences, and when you stack the audiences, you can actually have the spend all focused on one single set, which is good because then you can identify and scale up pretty quickly once you're exited learning and all that.
Regarding like if I like exit learning after 3 days, I can start multiply by 20%.
Yes, you could start scaling by that percentage. Yeah, because you won't reset learning, which is good. Do y'all have any specific questions that you want to cover during this?
Yeah. So regarding like more about like ABO. So before like in the start, let's say from June to 15 July, like ABO like worked great, like really great. And then like in 16th of July, it's starting to go down. That's happened because like our ad account structure wasn't good, and it just was a matter of time it's gonna like go down, or like it may also be a different reason.
Yeah, so in that case, it could be that because you have the audience split out and it was working so well, and then, you know, over time it started to decrease. That's because you probably were exhausting. You had auction overlap, you had competition overlap, which is an issue because now you have audiences competing and other people jumping into those audiences. So whenever you are performing really well, you should start stacking them, and that'll improve your audience size and kind of avoid a lot of those issues altogether.
And regarding two ad accounts, is it better, like it's okay to have two ad accounts, or it's better to work on just one ad account?
If it's the same business, then yeah, keep it in the same ad account if possible.
Okay.
Yeah, because then you won't have to, then you can actually notice the overlap as well in between the two to see what the issue might be.
And regarding testing new creatives, do you like suggest us like to use CBO for that, or just like by ad sets? Like
So
ABO?
yeah, so like you can do testing on the ad set level because like you're testing and you want it to be split by the spend, right? But the moment you find something's working, you want to switch to CBO and then start consolidating.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Roman, you also have question? Like, I just want to check something. One moment.
Yeah. No, to be honest, I don't have right now. Like if you can more explain about CBO, because sometimes we're doing like CBO, sometimes you're doing
Yeah,
like
oh,
more.
right. Yeah, I got it. Yeah, sorry, Roman. I just have a question. Like, I saw that you like at least like when you go to big CBOs like 1,000 a day or something like that. Usually, I saw that you do like a bid cap or something like that. And like when, like from what price, let's say, I should like to move to Bitcar or something like that. Or I like usually I do CBO on the lowest cost.
Yeah, so it makes sense to do bid cap and cost cap whenever you have enough purchases and have exited learning. So that's when I'd start using it.
And that
You can maintain the cost.
I see. And it's by duplicate or just by editing the correct current CBO?
So you would duplicate, switch it to cost cap, and then you'd set your target, and then you'd go from there and let it
Okay.
run. Right,
Okay,
because
so
then like you don't have to worry about it ever spending too much higher or at all higher, because it's always going to maintain that lower cost. But it only really works if you have enough purchases to do so.
okay. So enough purchases is like 20 per day, or like specific for the CBO.
So 50 in the last 7 days.
15 in the last 7 days, and then I just can go for the bid cap.
Yeah.
And
And
also, yeah, I hear.
I was going to see something on if we could pull a quick report. And feel free to ask your question.
Yeah, now I just sent another ad account, and like we can go over there too. So it's like have different creatives also.
Okay.
Is it matter like to start the CBO from like 100 per day or 200? Is there like just any like
Starting, it really depends. Like if you are stacking and you already know the audiences were working, then you can start with a much higher daily spend, because it's really not too much of an issue. But if you're just starting it, I mean, and you haven't tested it before, then I do like $10 per ad set. So if there's like 5 ad sets, then you do $50 on the campaign level.
I see. And also regarding the like, for example, the campaign that you told me to stack. So that's for example, I can like make higher because I just know that this audience is working.
Say that one again.
So the campaign that you told me to stack, like let's say for example, this one I can like make higher because I just know that it's working.
Yeah, exactly. You can definitely increase the spend on it since it is. Yeah. You can launch it at a higher spend for sure.
And usually, what do you recommend to exclude from the like the
The
stack
audience that
campaign?
you use to create it, and then purchases as well. Yeah. Because that way you can be targeting new individuals. That makes sense.
Yeah. Awesome.
Sorry, this delay is really impairing the speed.
That's okay.
There was a way to access, if this would populate, your audience reach in terms of like out of its size, how much you've reached. So it'll tell us, and that's another thing that we could use to like weigh what had happened, because like if you only reached 10% back in July and all of a sudden in August you've reached 80, then that'd be an issue. And it doesn't look like it's showing here either. Some ad accounts have it once again. The final way we could check is by doing this right here. Just creating this rule to check potentially.
Can I ask Facebook to edit? It's like,
Yeah, why don't they always show tools to everybody?
hmm.
Yeah, that's a good question. Yeah, they really don't have it on here for you. Strange. Yeah, typically there's something called like audience reach percentage, and it'll give you like a number of like what it'll give you a percentage of how much of the audience you've reached.
Mm-hmm.
But it just doesn't seem to show it all here. Yeah, nothing is here. All right, no worries. Essentially, like with the inspect, you can also see that. So like that's just an important thing to look out for. But if you want to pull up that other ad account, we can go over that.
Yeah, I just sent him. Roman, can you just click on that on the other account? Okay, yeah, it's not this one. Oh yeah, it's this one. Yeah.
Perfect. Cool. And this is the same website and all that too?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Got it. What is this specifically here?
So that's a new ad that I made. It's two creatives. One is for story and one is for feed. So I made it yesterday.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Like,
And you launched it. Got it. So it just was launched.
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense. Well, I mean, it looks to be working really well.
Yeah.
So that's good. Oh, wow. Is this the only place you're testing it?
Right now, like all of the, yeah, like in this ad account, the only ad account that I'm testing it, but I have a couple more ad sets for that.
Yeah, that's really good. I mean, 17 in, 166 out. Yeah, I'd say that's really good. Yeah, of course. Oh my gosh. Yeah, definitely. The fact that this has 6 purchases in such a short amount of time
Mm-hmm.
means that it has a lot of opportunity and potential. I honestly would say that this is, you should launch this into every audience you have right now.
Mm-hmm.
So like, is this the only audience it's in?
No, I have 3 more.
Okay. Well,
If you
let's
go
see
to
what those
the
look like
ad set,
real quick.
yeah, if you go to everything that says HWTT story and feed, that's the ones that have this video.
Okay. So it only, yeah. So, I mean, it's working in one specific audience. And it's working in this one. It's got a purchase for 13, which is better than what we were seeing earlier. So essentially what I do is like launch that into all of your audiences right away. Like
Okay.
any other ads manager, just start unloading it in all of your audiences. Just paste it in.
Okay. And it's if it's like a new, like, should I duplicate or just like paste it in? It will not make like
Duplicate, paste it in the audiences that aren't performing.
okay, no problem.
And then if it starts working, then paste it into the ones that are working. So that way, because then it's going to essentially work no matter what, whenever you launch it.
Okay.
Yeah. And this is this is the other ad account over here. Yeah, so I definitely put that one in all of them. And that should end up helping a ton because I mean, like obviously it's working in that audience. And then also with that audience that it is doing so well in, is that a lookalike audience or?
No, that's just a broad audience.
Oh, even better, which makes sense. Okay, that brings me to another question. Since that is a broad audience, that means that, you know, the algorithm's not constricted and it's actually kind of already understands what to optimize for to get you the results. So you might actually be limiting your audience too much. And let's see if that is the issue. If it is, then we're going to fix a wide scale problem right away.
Mm-hmm. Like usually I do up to 3%.
Yeah. Well, if you have detail targeting unchecked, then that's going to be a major indicator that you're probably going to improve your results across the board if you check this box. That's unchecked. Yep. Let's see if that is the case for the rest of your audiences. Yep, it is. It's unchecked. Essentially what you have here is like a speedboat
Mm-hmm.
that is supposed to be on the ocean, except you've set it inside of somebody's pool.
And that it's working on everything, also on the lookalikes, right?
It's off. And it means that you'd like could have a way better opportunity if you had this on in every single audience.
Mm-hmm.
Because essentially you have like a really good ad in product that could scale, but you're essentially limiting it by putting it in the pool when it could, you know, take off lightning speed if it was out on the ocean water. Just the boat would just fly off, you know, and just literally take off.
Mm-hmm.
But it
Yeah,
can't do anything in somebody's pool. If you like gas it, what happens? It flies out of the pool, it runs through the, you know, the yard, and all of a sudden next thing you know, the thing doesn't work anymore. That's the problem. That's off. And the reason I know is because with this one,
Mm-hmm.
it's not that it's on, but what it is that if this is an open audience, then that's like the indicator that it's like, hey, we could definitely be scaling. It's working. The algorithm knows who to show it to now, even though it's open. It could be working way better. And that's what you should probably do. Let's see here. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, like you have so much more here. And look, look, it's on.
Mm-hmm.
That's the answer. I mean, that'll fix your entire ad account.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, like
I like the reason I was thinking that it's only working for detail targeting, not for the lookalikes.
When you do detail targeting on your lookalikes.
Yeah, I was thinking only then to make expand, but I didn't know it's also helping when it's just lookalikes.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it'll make a huge difference.
Mm-hmm. So I just have like a lot of stacking and making just digital, just making expands, this like checkbox, making it on.
Right.
So right now, just let me make sure. So what right now, just I should make my, let's say, account structure like more minimalistic. So like less ad set, just like stack more ad set together, and then like with a good creatives, and try to minimize like a lot of ad sets working together, competing each other.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. And let me share something with you if you don't mind.
Yeah, no problem.
Here, let me get the audio to work first so I can make sure it shares computer sound. Okay. So this essentially here is a call that we have in our program. So like every single week we have weekly Q&A calls, right? Mm-hmm. People get on the call, and every single week, just how we're doing now, except it would be weekly, we'd be able to go through these things, you know? Mm-hmm. And listen to what this guy was saying in the beginning, because it's kind of a similar situation. So, oh, we got to turn up the volume.
I don't know what you want me to open up to working now.
Or again,
there was a I'm trying to figure out where to do that. There was a button 50 or 60 different lookalike audience always improves the result. It puts something back in my lookalikes that the expansion should have been on about 24 hours after I started, like, I don't know, 50 different lookalike audiences. And so 24 hours after it was performing really well, I added the expansion onto them. It put it back into review for about 30 minutes, and now it's performing even better. I've always heard people get crazy about how terrible it is to put something back into review. My purchases went from the ones that are performing went from like $8 down to like $2 now. They're all like $2.50. So all that to say, what are your thoughts on?
Did y'all hear that?
Yeah. So when he just make it on, like it was a lot better.
Yeah, and then he pulled up his screen and showed us. So this is what happened afterwards. So you see the 5x, 4x, 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 all these things. He's getting all these purchases. And that was from adding the detailed targeting in, and like the results completely shifted after that. So like he was getting a 1.56 on his lookalikes. And then like right after that day of changes, everything jumped above a 2, all of it.
Wow.
Yeah. And then like this is now he has these audiences that this is just early in the morning, right? You can see like $3 on all these. It's very early for this one because it's in the States. So that was, all of them are now 10x plus.
Hey, Chase, what do you suggest, to duplicate the ad or just to put that button on?
The checkbox.
I always recommend to duplicate and do it. He went ahead and did it without doing that. And that was his question, like, hey, I accidentally didn't duplicate. And even though I added in the checkbox, it still worked perfectly. It actually got better, he's saying. So he's wondering if that was okay for him to do. And I told him like, it's fine because it worked out, of course. Right. But if it didn't, then you risk your previous now getting messed up. Right. But I followed up with saying that like, we knew that was going to work anyways, because usually when you apply the detailed targeting on an account that's already had results and, in the past, it usually almost always gets better because the algorithm at this point usually knows what to do and optimize for. So it actually helps. So that's where you saw his results just jump significantly. So that was just some insight into the same situation that I was seeing with your account, right? Because like detailed targeting was all unselected. If you select all of it, and we can clearly see that it's selected on one of your best audiences and best ads. Now it could be the ad, but it could be both. And if it's both, then, why not do it to the rest of your stuff? And when you consolidate, maybe do the detailed targeting as a start. That makes sense?
Yeah, that's make a lot of sense. Just a question regarding like testing the new ad sets. Like usually, which budget do you recommend to test with?
Testing it's do it on the ad set level, but whenever you relaunch a stacked audience, it needs to be a CBO.
Yeah, no, I mean the testing one. Like usually we're starting with $30 per day, and that's like right now it's kind of killing us. So because like our product is costing like $25, $40. Like, is it okay to start for testing with $10?
Yeah, it is. It's fine to start with that. Yeah, okay. And his break even was like I think anything above like $20 was like no good for him, and he was getting like $4 profit per sale before he started, and then like afterwards now he's getting $16 per sale as profit. So I mean, like that's a huge difference.
Yeah.
And he scaled up significantly, and now he's like hitting 10x today, all from those changes. And like that's 2 calls, I mean, like there's so much that happens. So over time, they'll make a big difference.
Also the like this video you also can send me, like it's after the call. Is like
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I can share this with you.
Awesome. Great.
Cool. Do you have any other questions?
Yeah. Just let me just check one moment. One moment.
Do you have in general like some suggestions that you think that we can apply in our ads?
Yeah, the stacking using that ad that's now converting in all your audiences, and then when you stack, also selecting the checkbox for detailed targeting. That'll be
Yeah.
three. Those are three big impacts that'll make a big difference. And then using the inspect tool to check for overlap to prevent, to make sure you're not competing against yourselves. And then going from going from 2 ad accounts to 1. You can have
Yeah.
1 as a backup, but or for testing, you could use it for testing, which is actually a really smart thing to do. That's totally fine.
Mhm.
I do that.
Yeah.
I recommend that if you're testing, because you don't want something to get rejected and then lock your ad account. So it's smart to test there. But once you find what's working, don't just leave the account just to roll. Just put it all into the other one until you decide to test again.
Awesome, great. And regarding just question regarding the president, in 4 months is gonna be a new president. Like right now, I see that they're spending a lot of money per day. It's like for United States, is it somehow if infecting me, or it's very it shouldn't.
For what?
For the election, now many money going to the election part of usually spend 1 million, Trump spending 1 million per day on Facebook ads, and the other guy, I don't know what his name.
Oh,
what
Joe?
do you think it can affect us?
Oh, because they're spending a lot more, so there's so much more spend going in. So it's possible. I mean, the states there's a lot of people here. I mean, well over 180 million, 500 million. I mean, it's a huge audience in the US. So it's possible it could have a minute effect. I wouldn't say it's overwhelming unless you're hitting the exact same audience as they are, which shouldn't be too likely. But I mean, if you look at your auction competition, if it's spiking or going up, then you could attribute that to, there's somebody out there that's spending a lot more in the same audience as you.
So as much if I spend much more, I'm gonna win more audience for myself.
No, not spending more equals better auction wins. It's really about which ad is providing the most value. That's how the auction delivery system works. So essentially, if you go to this link here, I'm gonna send it via chat. If you click that link, that'll take you to the ad auction delivery overview. It'll break down how an ad auction is determined, the winning of it. I sent in chat via Zoom, so that way you can see exactly what it is, how the competition is, how you can outbeat other advertisers. It's a formula. So essentially, here's the breakdown of how an ad wins. And you can see that there's actually not anything totally weighed on the bid. It's one piece of the equation, right? You could have a really good bid, but let's say your bid's 100, but you multiply it by 1, then your value's what? 100. It's still the same. So you could change it to 1,000. It might go up a little bit, but it's not as significant. But let's say you have 100 times 2, then you're getting 200, which is double the value, right? So that's not, that's putting in simple terms of just understanding that if you get this number to go up and this number to go up, then obviously your ad auction rate's going to explode in terms of you being able to win a lot more ads. But essentially it's advertiser bid times the estimated auction rate. So that's going to be the number of individuals that'll potentially buy your item, which is why it's important to have a large audience size and stack once you have proven. And then the advertiser bid, which is good because you need to make sure you have a good enough bid to be able to win. And then user value, that is essentially the perception of your ad. That's if people are marking it negative, if you have a good, good reviews, if your site loads fast, if you don't have a poor experience, people have a good, experience with your product. That's the user value aspect of it. And all of those things combined equals the overall value. And so let's say your ad's valued 60 out of 100 on the back end. That means that that's your score. And if somebody else's score is 80, so it's valued a little bit higher than yours, they might actually get the bid for the user for a lower cost, even though you're willing to pay more. So they'll give it to them instead of you, even though you're willing to pay more.
I see.
See this? And that breaks it down more. The quality, the post-click, the repetition of the ad, and the predicted engagement of it. And it goes into a lot more, and you can see how it works, but you know, it gets real technical. So that's just the broad overview. But I mean, certainly go through this to understand it better.
Mm-hmm. Great, awesome. Thank you, Chase.
Cool. Yeah, and if you decide to join the program and get like 104 calls and all that, you know, essentially, since you've already paid for a call, you don't have to pay for the full cost of the program. So it'd be 3,300 instead of 3,800. So I'll send you that link if you decide to do it. If you do, you can automatically start booking your calls, and you get 2 per week in this case. And we could work over the course of time. I'll send you that link.
It's 2 per week only with you or with other
me.
people?
Just with me.
Ah, okay. I see. I see. Awesome. Thank you. Thank you, Chase. I will start working on that right now.
Alrighty, guys. Good evening. Or
Good
good night.
evening. Thank you so
Alrighty.
much.
Bye.
Bye, Chase.
Bye-bye. Thank you, Chase.